I, I just don't get it, guys. I really just don't get it. I mean, okay, they decide to not have that. They decide to not have that in. Basically including just some anime scenes with Rei, just anime only scenes. But oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse because they did what I feared that they would do. They didn't include that bit. They didn't include that bit in with Mama revealing her number, but they decided to include that bit, basically having the entire anime watchers reactions, reviews, whatever, just being like, wait, what? Mama has a number, Crone has a number, so wait, what? What's going on? Yeah, Mama did have a number, and they didn't even reveal it when they had the chance. Okay, I apologise for that outburst, guys, but you could probably say why where my anger is coming from, because that moment when Mama revealed a number, that was like one of the biggest surprise. Like, you had the surprise with the demons, and then as if another surprise couldn't be like more shocking, they revealed like, oh, the adults, the mamas, and the mamas are the ones that are actually actually have numbers. So now we get an understanding of where the motivation is coming from, and it not only gets that, but it also gets us asking a lot of more questions. Like, okay, so wait, where are all the men? Where are all the boys that grow up? Are the boys around? And why is how did this happen? Like, how did she come into this? How did she get into this position? And it just makes me fear of another thing that's going to happen later in the series. Like, right at the end, we're not going to get the flashback with Isabella and Leslie and get our ultimate understanding of like why Mama was the way she was. Because again, they're not including flashbacks. They include one flashback at the beginning of the series to actually set the tone and set the stage. But again, that wasn't necessary. When they could have included that in the beginning of the in the middle of the first episode, where Emma goes to actually discover what the gate to like look at the gate with Emma and with Ray and Norma in the past. And I know I'm getting really ranty here, but it's been such a glaring issue that it was a surprise to a lot of the reactions that I saw. But again, it would have been even more surprising if they actually showed it with Mama rather than leaving them confused more than actual shock. And this is like my biggest problem with this actual episode as well. And I know I'm going to get a lot of ranty here because of this issue, and I just want to apologise for this, and also apologise to Next Door, because Next Door, they're renovating their basement. I know I've mentioned this before as well, but they're renovating their basement or cellar, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world. So there might be some like drilling going on, and you might actually hear that, and I apologise to you guys, but I obviously can't stop them from actually doing the work on their house. But but another thing that can't be stopped is my honest to God rant here. And I know I'm being such like a fanboy here because I wanted this anime to do well. I really wanted it to do well. And in terms of anime, it's not a bad anime adaptation. It's just the little things that happen that just makes it so frustrating for me and for a lot of other people that have actually read the series. Like, as well, the mind games. The mind games are not being included at all. And I'm just getting like, the mind games aren't being included at all. Like, I told a lot of people, like, oh, this was a great battle of the minds. It's a battle of brains rather than brawn. But there's no mind games. There's no inner thoughts, and it just completely takes away from one of the most important aspects of the series. Okay, I'll calm down here. Now, on a positive note here, I managed to pick up the latest volume of the Promised Neverland Volume 8, and this is the volume that I was really excited for because it starts Goldie Pond, which I think is one of the most underrated arcs in the series. For one reason is, if I can get to it, is this guy right here, Lewis, or as the actual official translation goes, it's Grand Duke Luvis. And that seems like a more awesome name to me, but it's gonna like make things confusing. So I may actually, when I get to videos about him, more videos about it, because I really want to do more on his character, particularly now that we've got the actual volume in front of me. I may alternate between Lewis and Lufus, depending on my mood. But again, it's so exciting to actually finally get this volume. I am waiting for volumes 9 and 10 to come out to get like the full scale of the battle with Lewis or Lufus. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And that's a positive thing I wanted to say right off the bat before we get into like the ultimate ranting of this video. Okay, so this will be episode 7, and to start off things, it cuts out Emma's worry and has Norman just assuming things, and I put this note in because it was like, for here it says, join forces with Sister Crone, what's going on? I thought her objective was to find the targets and ship them out immediately, and you get like, Emma holding on to Gilda, and again showing just like the vulnerability of their characters, and showing like, no, they're not just these perfect individuals, like they can actually feel their emotions, they can be feeling vulnerable when they actually want to be. And Norman just assuming things here, it's like, I see, so that's what she's up to, and without actually having any substance behind it, because they've again cut out all the mind games, or every single. This studio seems to be like afraid of actually getting inner thoughts in. And I know Control Chaos brought this up, but they seem to be afraid of that for some reason. Like, oh, we can't, this is gonna like slow everything down. And somebody actually put a comment on one of the videos that's saying like, well, I think it's more better because anime's a more visual aspect. And yes, in some cases that is correct, but we're talking about a series that's been built up as like a battle of the minds as well. And by taking out the mind games, you take away basically the point of the series. And in case people were thinking like, oh, no series could do that, Death Note. And we're going to be talking about Death Note in a moment as well, because that's something that I want to compare, like the twist that Crone has a number and Mama has a number. If something happened in Death Note, that would have just made like, what? Now, what Crone actually says here is, he's right, we should cooperate to achieve each other's goals. You kids want to escape, and I want to become a mama of this house. I want to drag Isabella down from the mama's position and take her place. And again, we get Crone's motivation here of what she wants to do, why she wants to do things. But again, taking away all those mind games aspects, it takes away a certain aspect of the series that makes it that gives it the actual substance that it actually needs. And of course, we get to the big one, the reveal of Crone's number without actually revealing Mama's number, and it would have made it much better impact if Mama's number was actually revealed as well. And I'm going back to Death Note as well. This is kind of like in Death Note if they didn't establish that there was a second Kira at all. Like, they didn't establish there was a second Kira at all until Misa actually met with Light and be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a second Kira and I've got the eyes. It's the same thing here as well. Yeah, it would have been a surprise as well, but if they had actually established that in earlier, if they had taken that away and not established it saying up, it wouldn't have nearly as had a bigger impact as it did when we actually found out. It's the same thing here. Yes, it's a shock and a surprise, but the fact that they had a perfect option to set it up and they just ignored it, that kind of like takes away from any of the actual situation at hand, and instead like they felt it better to say, oh no, we don't need to include one of these big plot points and established plot points that absolutely needs to be shown, but we need to have more scenes of Ray just standing looking anonymous, like we can't figure out, like, okay, he knows more than he's letting on. And I hope people can see my frustrations here, because again, like with Death Note, imagine if that had happened with the second Kira. Not only would it have been a disservice to the manga, but it also would have been a disservice to the anime viewers that could have had that reveal early on and they chose to ignore it. But thankfully that didn't happen with Death Note. And again, it's kind of like okay, imagine if we never saw in Star Wars, for example, imagine if we never saw Han getting frozen in carbonite, and then all of a sudden he's frozen in carbonite in Return of the Jedi. It's kind of like here. We never saw Isabella or Crone's number up until this point. Oh, all of a sudden they have a number. Okay, what if we had established that earlier? We would have been like, oh my god, what, they have numbers as well? Wait, so they were kids as well? What's going on here? So I hope you guys can see my frustrations here. It would have been so easy to just include the twist of Isabella just revealing her number. It would have just 2 minutes. That's all it would have taken. Just not even 2 minutes. Just 1 minute of her just at a mirror, but going like, "I'm gonna be the one to survive." Like, not even a minute, just 30 seconds. 30 seconds, that's all it would have taken. Although one thing I will say was a little bit funny, more so for the reactions rather than to the actual scene as well, is when Crone is explaining everything to Emma, Norman, Don and Gilda, and she's just walking around them, and they're like, and all you got was comments of her that's like, "Don't be showing that arse, Crone. Don't be showing that big arse." And I thought, oh my god. That's the thing that they're really focusing on here, rather than focusing on what the characters are actually saying. That is kind of sad when they're like, when it's like they have to like just include a bit with Crone walking around just showing off her arse, rather than what's important in the actual situation itself. And of course, we have to have a moment where they can't just think it, "Oh no, that would make too much sense." No, they have to say a line like that right out loud, what Norman is actually saying in that panel right there. They have to say, "So we were right about not being able to kill the adults." And again, why is this such a big deal? Well, Crone needs evidence. And the fact that she has evidence right now, clear as day, in front of her, like, they're actually trying to kill us. They're actually trying to kill us. She could easily just capture them, throw them to Isabella and be like, "Hey, Isabella, they're trying to kill her." I mean, even though Ray has actually told her at this point that they're actually trying to kill her. But no, not even Isabella. They could be like, "Hey, Isabella, watch them. I'm going to call headquarters because they're trying to kill us." "Hello? Headquarters? Yeah, they're trying to kill us." And I know eventually it's revealed that Isabella doesn't necessarily want them to be killed, and she has certain plans for them, as it's revealed later on. But the fact that Crone didn't even consider that when Norman actually basically said, "Yeah, we were trying to kill you," that's just like takes away so much from that moment. It just makes you question, well, why doesn't Crone just go and tell them right now and then? Now, one thing that I'm a little bit unsure of is the line that Crone says here. It's, "If I can only live on the farms, that's why I want to live the best life, the best way possible here as a mama, and even though it's fake, to live like a human, playing house as a mother, surrounded by a warm family, cute children, and their adorable love for me. But to get that, the current mom, Isabella, is in the way. I want to remove her. If you all escape, she will be blamed and she'll be gone." Now, in the anime, they actually changed the line to "Even if it's fake, it's a life for humans," and they even leave out the playing house. And I kind of on the defense about this, because even though it pretty much gets out the same meaning here, the fact that it added the "to play house" allows us to get more into the insanity of Crone's mind at that moment in time. Even though she's not thinking it, she's saying it out loud, we are allowed to get into the insanity of that. Like, she's in a delusional state, like to the point that she knows she can't get out, so she just wants to play house and just live in this fantasy world. And she knows that it's a fantasy world, but it's the best that she can do in that situation. And to take away and to change it, maybe it does work. I'm not sure. I mean, I'll let you guys decide on that point, like whether or not I think that line works better in the manga or the anime, because I'm still not sure myself, and I feel like after thinking about it for a brief moment here, it might, maybe that was a bit of a nitpick moment of my part. Now, one thing that I'm a little bit unsure of is the line that Crone says here. It's, "If I can only live on the farms, that's why I want to live the best life, the best way possible here as a mama, and even though it's fake, to live like a human, playing house as a mother, surrounded by a warm family, cute children, and their adorable love for me. But to get that, the current mom, Isabella, is in the way. I want to remove her. If you all escape, she will be blamed and she'll be gone." Now, in the anime, they actually changed the line to "Even if it's fake, it's a life for humans," and they even leave out the playing house. And I'm kind of on the defense about this, because even though it pretty much gets out the same meaning here. The fact that it added the to play house allows us to get more into the insanity of Crone's mind at that moment in time. Even though she's not thinking it, she's saying it out loud. We are allowed to get into the insanity of that. Like, she's in a delusional state, like to the point that she knows she can't get out, so she just wants to play house and just live in this fantasy world. And she knows that it's a fantasy world, but it's the best that she can do in that situation. And to take away and to change it, maybe it does work. I'm not sure. I mean, I'll let you guys decide on that point, like whether I think that line works better in the manga or the anime, because I'm still not sure myself, and I feel like after thinking about it for a brief moment here, it might, maybe that was a bit of a nitpick moment of my part. But one thing it does cut out is Norman quickly figuring out at that moment in time what Crone's plan actually is, and I know in the episode he kind of like briefly touches upon this later on in a particular scene, which is an anime only scene as well, to include Rei, and we'll get into that point when we get into it. But again, it's changed to just having a stare down. And do you think we've had enough stare downs for one day? Why can't we actually have some inner thoughts when they're actually doing those tense moments over the music? Again, that would add so much to the scenes. But yeah, this is what Norman says. Wrong, or actually thinks. This is why he actually thinks. It's like, wrong. It's not that she won't. She can't. She can't hand us over because she has no evidence. She doesn't have the authority. She's not trusted more by the demons than Mama. That's why her only choice is to get close to us targets. Yes, get close and obtain the evidence. After that, I will ship these annoying brats out along with Isabella, and then I'll become a mom. That's my true objective. Although this one may have figured it out. Figured that out too. Of course it is too obvious. Besides, if she really just wanted us to escape, there would be no need for her to get close to us. She would just need to assist us quietly when the time was right. So there's no need to give us information. She only does this to gain our trust, and she has our trust and gets evidence. She'll get us killed for sure, because she failed with Gilda. This time she approached all of us. If she can get the evidence, that's great, but if she can't, she'll let us escape. She can at least get rid of Mom. Isn't that right, Sister Crone? And we see a smirk from Sister Crone. See a smirk from Sister Crone to confirm that basically Norman has actually figured it out as well. And we get that in the anime, but we don't get it as intense because Norman is actually figuring this out. And again, it's just taken away so much from the battle of the minds, like how Norman is just able to quickly pick up on these things and think, no, something's not right here, and I am gonna tell how it is. And again, they could have easily kept this in, like if they kept it in like the same with Death Note, there wouldn't be a problem. But again, of course, they have to save time because they have to rush through 37 chapters and 13 episodes, as if they couldn't have just like 26 episodes like they should have had. The series is popular enough to have 26 episodes, so why can't they have 26 episodes? And before you guys say, oh, it's a seasonal anime, so there's loads of seasonal animes that have jumped into the next season, and it could have been just as popular to actually get 26 episodes. In fact, it is popular to get 26 episodes. But again, going back to this, Norman does actually explain certain aspects later on in the season. But the fact that we got them here shows that he's clearly on the ball. He's clearly observing everything, and he's not gonna let Crone get the upper hand, because he knows that he knows that he knows, and he's making it obvious. But he's also telling us what the plan actually is, rather than actually just spurring it out loud. I mean, again, he says it again later to the others, but the fact that we got it here added so much tension to the scene. Like, oh, okay, what's gonna happen? And they're saying that she has no evidence. She has evidence. You've just said to her, oh, we're gonna kill the adults, but we can't right now. That is evidence enough to actually just get her to actually at least try to go and say, hey, I have evidence here. They have said to me that they were trying to kill us. It's not no evidence. Even if she's a sister, I would still believe. If I was a demon, I would still believe. Okay, so they're trying to kill you. Okay, we'll go and send in a team to investigate this right now. Oh, and something else that I forgot to mention in the last bit just then was Norman going on to say, even so, do you have a choice? You children have to join forces with me or else I'll get in the way of your escape. That's most likely what she's thinking. We can use each other. Isn't that the best option? So again, figuring out like, okay, Crone is going to use us, so we're going to use her, and we're going to be sneaky about it rather than actually giving her out the information. And again, it ties into later what's actually later on when Emma and Norman actually go to confront Sister Crone, and she actually reads their body language rather than reading what they're actually thinking, and she's smart enough to actually pick up on that, and we'll get into that when we get into it. That pretty much sums up my reaction. Just like me, just want to cut gnaw through a screen and just be like, no, this isn't how it's supposed to go. But then again, I'm probably just a fanboy here. But yeah, that's sort of right then, just buzzing away. That's pretty much how I feel at this moment in time. But anyway, going back to the bit, the bit that I've written down here is that it does capture Emma's facial expression really well when she's like, where's the guarantee that you won't betray us? Just answer. But I don't think the voice actress actually does. Now, not to say she's doing a bad job. She's doing an amazing job as Emma. But I feel like she just can't capture the anger that's actually displayed on screen at certain point. That's actually displayed on the pages or on screen at certain points. And it would have had a little bit more impact if she actually just put a bit more oomph into it. Is that fair, guys? Is that actually fair? Is that actually fair that I'm saying that she's doing an amazing job, but I just feel like she needs that just like that little bit more push. And the best moment here is when Crone says, "Oh, don't you trust me?" And Emma's there, just like, if I can get it up, there, right there, that page right there, just answer. I feel like she needed just a little bit more of like, just answer. And I mean, I know I'm more aggressive. I can have a much more aggressive voice, but she's like, "Just answer," like that, sort of like that tone that she had, and I don't feel it fit well for the situation or the expression that Emma was trying to get across in that situation. Now, the voice actress is trying her best. All of them are doing their best. Like, all of them are really, really good. They're really good. That's one of the things I'll praise the anime is that all the voices are really, really good now. Now that they've actually been able to establish their roles, their respective roles as well. All the voice actors are doing an absolutely fantastic job, and I'm really grateful that they got really good actors to play these parts. And again, another thing that I put down in the notes is that they're dragging out the suspense when it doesn't really need to be dragged out, and it cuts out Crone's message to Dawn and Gilda, which was don't be so frightened, Gilda. I'm not mad at you. In fact, I'm grateful. After all, it's because of you. It's because you two made waves that I was able to specify the targets. Again, it shows a flashback of Dawn and Gilda actually going to get the key, and Crone is actually on the case and looking and observing and thinking like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. And the fact that she actually mentioned this actually plays an important part later on when she's actually able to figure out what Emma and Norman are actually thinking from just their body language as well, showing that she's more observant and more able to quickly deduce what people are thinking based on their body language rather than based on their change of attitude like Isabella is able to do. And I feel like Crone, because they've taken out so much of that from this series, it kind of like just feels like it's coming out of nowhere that Crone is actually disintelligent, more so than we were actually led to believe. But the fact that we actually got that in the manga made it much more believable when the actual scenes actually came about. And again, another thing that it cuts out, which I wasn't going to comment on, was this bit here when Dawn is the one that actually asks Crone if she was born and raised on a farm, and Crone says, yes, the same as Gracefield House, but not here at Plant 3. Norman actually asked that later on, and again, it feels like they're just taking away moments from other characters in favour of other characters to make them seem like more important. And I can't be the one here, like going back to this, I can't be the one here that sees that Emma is actually in the anime, it's actually been taken a back seat from as opposed to Ray and Norman. Like, she's sort of like becoming the secondary protagonist in her own series, that when she's supposed to be the main character. And I feel like when they actually get to the scene when they actually do escape and they're like, oh, it was all because of Emma that we were able to do this, I feel like people are going to be like, no, it was all because of you two, because you two were the ones that were figuring out everything rather than Emma actually doing anything. And again, I don't feel like they're actually showing just how infallible Emma is as a person. I feel like she's just being portrayed as just this happy-go-lucky person who's even though she's not as smart as Ray and Norman, she's still on their level, but I feel like the anime has just made it so that she's not as smart as them. Now, the next bit is actually cut. It's actually placed later on to basically what boils down to an anime filler scene, but it has some of the manga in it. And one particular point here is because they actually move it to inside to include Ray in this conversation. And one of the things here is that when you get Emma going, she was one of us too, and yet she thinks that continuing to watch kids get killed is the best way to live. That is the way for a human to live. She really doesn't think anything of the lives of children. Now, they cut out this bit right here, and you can see just how pissed off Emma is in this situation. They cut out that bit there, that bit there when she's like, she thinks that continuing to watch children get killed is the best way to live. That it's a way for humans to live. The fact that they cut that out, it didn't have the same impact as it did in the manga, and it didn't warrant Emma having an absolutely pissed off face. I mean, it did. But the fact that she didn't say it just makes you think like Emma is being made way too much here. But if she actually added that bit in and actually built on the anger that was building up in that bit, it would have made much more sense in that regard. And again, the scene goes on for way too long in my regard, and I don't know whether this is to compensate for the lack of setup of certain things or the lack of... No, actually, I know why it is. It's to compensate for the lack of including all the inner dialogue that they have to add in, all these anime filler scenes. And while I'm granted that they gave much more Don and Gilda, it just takes away so much of what could have been added in if they had actually included the mind games. And I feel like the scene just goes on for a bit too long. And also they have a bit in with Isabella finding a box at the gate, and it just ruins the surprise later on when we find out like, oh, Ray has a camera, and we have a note from headquarters that is given to Crone at the end of the episode. And I feel like they're just taking away so many surprises that it's just making the situations feel not as intense as they could be if they are actually just not shown it and just kept it under wraps until like the big surprise later on. I know this is kind of cheating in this regard in some aspects, but again, it's just a continuous problem again and again and again that pretty much some parts contradict and some parts fall. It's like, don't know where to focus on in this regard. Now, one thing I'm disappointed as well, which further cements why I think this is not going to happen in episode 12. I believe this is when it's going to happen. This is when it could happen. Is this part right here, Crone's flashback when she's first decides, I'm not going to die and I'm going to take the moment to become a mama or a sister. And it's number 18684, Crone. Starting today, you will aim to become a mom here with everyone else. My teacher, known as Grandma, told me, compete. That is how we survive. So again, showing a motivation for the characters, especially for the adults, of why they're doing. Because if they don't compete, then they're gonna die. They're just gonna be food. So they're basically a survival of the fittest in this situation, and they've just given up of trying to escape themselves at that point. And again, the reason why I feel like if they cut out this, they're going to cut out something later, is again the flashback between Isabella and Leslie, because again, Emma could very much be like Isabella, and that flashback pretty much cemented it in how Isabella was so much like Emma in her youth, but she took down the path of what Ray took down, rather than the path of what Emma took down, and being determined to escape no matter what. Again, it showed like she was in a situation where she felt there was no escape, so the next best thing was just to survive as long as she possibly could. And I feel like if they're not going to include that bit, and if they really do, then it's just going to make Isabella seem more like of a cartoonish villain than she already is. Now, the conversation between Emma, Norman, and Crone pretty much goes similar to how it was in the manga, although there are a few things that I want to talk about here. The first thing is that Norman saying to Ray during a private conversation with themselves, through flashback, of course, because we can't have any flashbacks. Yeah, I'm sure she'll mix in lies here and there, meaning that Norman expects Crone to lie. Again, showing like how he clearly thinks and how much strategy he is planning again and again. And he goes on to say, but I would like to get as much information as possible, and I also want to mislead her about our intentions. So again, showing that Norman is being incredibly sneaky in certain regards and not trying to let Crone get the upper hand. But of course, he's being a little bit too naive and not thinking about the bigger picture. He's just focusing so much on the fact that he expects her to lie and he's waiting to see the words come out of her mouth. And of course, the dragging things out again, like the thing with Crone's creepy doll. Granted, it is a creepy doll. I'm not saying that doll isn't creepy. That is freaky as hell, that doll. But again, they're just dragging out bits that don't really need to be dragged out. A perfect example is in the scene where Emma and Norman are like, can we see the tracking device? And Crone's like, oh sure. And she just walks slowly over to them. Like that. It literally takes 10 seconds. Well, no, I don't think it literally takes 10 seconds, but it takes a long time rather than her just being right next to them and just being like, oh yeah, here it is. And again, that was enough. That we didn't need that to be dragged out as much as it did. But that's not the thing that actually surprised me about the scene, is that they cut out an important point and had Isabella that has Isabella being mentioned by Crone, and it's the point when Emma asks Crone how old she is, and she's like, I'm 26, born and raised in Gracefield House. By the way, Isabella is 31, and they're like, oh, born in 2014, and she's like, and she was born on the farm and raised here, as in this Gracefield House. And you get this reaction from Emma and Norman being like, what? Here? Crone saying that's what I saw in the records, and Emma going, even Mom, who was born before that book was published, was born on the farm. So Mom and sister both aren't from the outside. And again, that's very important, because they obviously thought that the whole demon invasion happened 30 years ago, because no books were published after 2015. But the fact that Mama was born on a farm a year before, it just opens a whole new can of worms. And the fact that they're not given the expression that they have right there in the episode just kind of like feels like it's just throwaway, when in fact it's an important plot point to show, like, oh no, they are actually wrong. They were actually wrong in their assumptions, and they can be wrong. But the fact that they're not showing that expression, it just takes away from something that is so important. And I don't think the writers realise just how important that the writers of the anime or the animators just realise just how important that moment actually is. Again, they haven't really focused on William Minerva or that much more so than it was in the manga. So again, maybe they cut that out because they felt like, oh well, we haven't focused on William Minerva, so we might as well not focus on the fact that, oh, Isabella was born in this farm before we assume the demons took over, when in fact no, it's been around longer than they actually expected. But the fact that they're not showing any emotion to that, it just feels weird. But of course we get the big one, which is Crone actually figuring out what is actually going on here, and her saying, they're smart kids, they don't reveal anything by leaping at information they don't know is true. No, they understand. As long as they don't give me evidence, I will have no choice but to let them run. But, and then we get the big laughing showdown from Crone. And again, they also cut out Norman and Emma questioning and relaying, which is where Crone goes, I see, I've learned a lot. And we get this panel right here with Emma going, how? We chose our questions carefully. We didn't slip up. And it's not, and we'll get and in the anime, it does. She does actually say, it's not just words that provide information. you both took care with your words, to be sure that I wouldn't figure it out, and you guys know it. Like Crone actually explained it in the episode. And that humans give a lot of information, even if they're just standing there. And we get them saying, we get Crone saying in the episode as well, even though I said the tracking device was in your ear, you didn't touch your ear to check it. You found out about it, but you didn't look happy at all. And we get like the realization from Emma and Norman, the fact that they actually slipped up, and Norman going, shoot, she already predicted that we wouldn't make a slip out of the tongue, so that's why she wasn't focusing on our words but how we reacted to her own words. And again, cutting out that bit, again, it cuts out the fact that they're able to admit when they were wrong and they made mistakes and how to improve on it later on. And the fact that they're cutting out that makes it think like, oh, they're just superhuman. And I mean, they are superhuman. Like, I get that. They are superhuman. They have super intelligence, more so than I have, and I'll admit that. But the fact that they're cutting out that moment, cuts out, that makes them a little bit more humanized and vulnerable, and the fact that they're able to lose and they've lost in this situation because Crone has been able to figure out what they've actually been doing. And it actually again goes back to earlier that Crone is able to pick up on body language more so than actually what people and actually dictate what they're actually thinking in that regard, more so than Isabella can, because she's been observed, she's a sister, she's been around them, she knows a lot more about what kids actually say and what words and what they actually want to get out of them. And the fact that they're cutting out all of this just takes away a lot from not just Emma and Norman's character, but from Crone's character as well. And again, this is further emphasised when, after the conversation with Crone, they go, we underestimated Sister Crone. She saw through our intentions. Yeah, but she doesn't have any evidence yet. I wasn't supposed to give any information on our side. The person is the same as Mom. She's an adult who survived the system of the farm. We need to hurry. We need to get out of here as soon as possible. We have to make sure we thoroughly inspect the vicinity tomorrow. Again, showing that they actually understood that they've actually lost in this situation and they need to be much more careful from now on. And the fact that they didn't include this in the anime makes me just think that they're just trying to make them cardboard cut out characteristics of their personality. Now, another thing that they added in the episode was an extra bit with Mama and Ray, basically like discussing certain aspects, and Ray actually receiving the camera from Mama. And again, I don't know whether this was to hammer it in on the head that Emma and Mama, not Emma, Ray and Mama are mother and son, because even though it was subtly hinted at, we could actually pick up on it. I was able to pick up on it when we had that flashback of after Norman had been shipped out, which is probably going to be the ending to the next episode. Let's be honest, that is going to be the ending to the next episode. I'm 100% certain that is going to happen. But anyway, going back, so after Norman has been shipped out and Emma's like in a room and Mama's basically telling her like, I want you to become a mom, and we see the flashback of Mama actually being impregnated. I immediately just jumped to like, oh, that means that's obviously Ray and Mama's womb there, because again of just how different their relationship be, and they didn't need to hammer it in on over the head time and time again how different their relationship was in the manga, but they need to do so in the anime. I guess they don't have any confidence in their audience at this moment in time. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'll let you guys decide on that. Now, when Ray's going through his speech about certain aspects of the plan to Emma, Norman, Don and Gilda, it's cut down to the bare minimum. But also something else that's added in is Ray messing about with the camera, and I can't really find, I'm looking through it now, I can't find any evidence in that moment when Ray had the camera. Instead, all I got was this bit right here, where Ray is actually making notes, and we don't actually get the camera until much later, where Emma's like an instant camera, or somebody's like an instant camera, and the fact that they couldn't ask him about it out there where he had it clear as day. It's just so silver. It's just taking things around that just doesn't make any sense when they add in the bit later and making it think like it's a big deal. But it isn't. Like, Emma saw the camera. Emma saw Ray with the camera. She should have noticed it. But also, one other thing as well is that they cut out the bit where Norman and Emma say, re-screwed up, and that Sister Crone actually found out the information again, showing that they don't want us to think like, oh, Norman, Emma and Ray can make mistakes and they can be vulnerable and they can actually lose, and I feel like that's just such a disservice to their characters. Now as well, what is cut out is Crone actually, if I can actually find it, when Crone's actually searching around for evidence for the kids, even though she clearly had evidence there and then, when she actually confronted Dawn, Gilda, Emma and Ray. I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Yeah, it's right here. It's not here. It's not anywhere. That bit right there. They cut out her frustration again, showing that how she's just getting desperate time and time again, and not actually thinking of the gravity of the situation, and it cuts out. And it cuts out a lot of Ray and Crow's thoughts on the situation as well. But again, that's just nitpick. Basically, it ends with this bit right here, with Mama coming to see Crone and telling her that it's time to say goodbye. So, what to say about this episode, guys? I think I've made my point. I think after the last, I don't know, nearly an hour now, I think this will probably be the longest one out of these videos of what's the difference between The Promised Neverland. I'm 100% certain on that. And oh my god, some things just never will change, and my frustration for the series to be good, but it not being good will be one of those things. And the fact that they added in the bit where Crone revealed her number but Isabella's number wasn't revealed, that was just like a big F you to me. F you to me and everyone else that's a fan of this series that could have had that, when the anime could have had that twist early on, but they chose to ignore it. I've pretty much made my thoughts on this well known, but guys, so I'll let you guys go. Enjoy your day. And what did you guys think? Let me know. Like, subscribe, dislike, comments galore, all that jazz. Again, feel free to agree or disagree with me. I welcome it. And I welcome all conversations. Anyway, guys, the review of chapter 124 will be coming out later on in the week, and that one is quite a doozy of a chapter because that has basically been giving me food for thought on what's gonna happen next. But anyway, guys, this will be Lasha Luke signing off. Later, guys.